how old are you?
24
years.
Yeah.
It's like shit. And then it was good. But it upset me. Everything upsets me.
Yeah.
You're a cranky old man.
I am a curmudgeon old bastard. Oh, God, what pissed me off today? Oh, guy shows up at the door, right? Knocks on the door. You know, first of all, when you hear somebody at the door. Yeah, here at the door. When you hear somebody do this.
You're like, somebody local, somebody I know?
No, I think solicitor.
Uh-huh.
I think some guy who's trying to pretend he's friendly is a solicitor. And then I go to the door. Bender's going crazy. So I open the door, and they always stand like 5 steps back because they've, obviously been bitten before, quite literally. And so he just looks at me, and he's got a clipboard in his hand, and he goes, "Hi, and I went, "I'm going to stop you. We're not interested. Thank you so much, though." And he goes, "But you don't." And I went, "We're not interested. Thank you." And I saw him roll his eyes and sigh as I closed the door. Half of me wanted to reopen the door and just go, "Hey, fuck you. I was being nice."
And you looked at the peephole and you was peeing on your bush.
It probably was.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm just not wasting your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather close this deal off so you can go find somebody else to buy your magazine subscriptions or whatever the hell you're trying to sell. And it just, why am I the bad guy?
I saw him on the corner when I pulled up.
Was he kicking grass?
No, he was. He looked like he was talking to himself. I don't know.
Oh, see?
So,
crisis averted.
I know. I had somebody this weekend. We were walking around downtown, and they looked at me and they said, "Excuse me, do you know who Jesus is?" And I went, "Nah, I'm good, man."
Do you know who Jesus is? Jesus.
Now, have you seen him lately? I've been looking for that guy. He promised me.
Yeah.
I've been looking for him since
yeah.
BC.
Yeah. Born on Christmas. Before we begin, do you know Jesus? Why? Sponsor mentions and an in-house plug. Not an in-house plug. That's old copy from last week. But new sponsor alert, everybody. My glass won't ring because it's too full. New sponsor alert, you guys. Camelback is now on board. Hydration packs, bottles. By the way, they make them in steel and titanium now, and I think you knew about that, didn't you, Jackson?
I didn't know about the steel and titanium.
Steel and titanium bottles, along with a brilliant podium design that outdoes any dispensing products I have found. I love the... Do they call them nipples?
Spouts.
Spouts? Damn it.
I like nipples.
I do too. But to be able to not have to pull it open with your teeth, and I really set myself up for a bad thing here. But I like
It's how you finished.
those
Almost
bottles.
how you finished the last show.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, with nipples?
Yeah, no, it was the nipples. But you were saying other things.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'll do it again. You know what you need, and Camelback has just the thing. Use our link at Packfiller today. Thanks for Camelback for coming on board. I have, by the way, a new sponsor alert for the next 2 shows.
No way.
Yeah, we're doing good. And speaking of great sponsors, Scratch Labs. I told you about the cookies. Oh my God, pure brilliance! I made a new batch, but I put walnuts in them. I don't know if you like nuts in your cookie, but they're delicious. And I did not bring any down because I want them. That's just a sample of the great things that Scratch does on a daily basis. Fueling flavor and fun. The recovery mix is my to-go post every workout, and the hydration mix is always with me. If you're like me and you can't remember to hydrate properly, I have a hard time with it. The trick is to add just a little bit amount of that the hydration powder to add the flavor that tricks you into remembering to drink. You're like, oh, that tasted good. I think I'll keep doing it. Duh. And so it works for me. So use the link at packfiller.com. Finally, NordVPN. After praising their name and all the glory that is watching bike races online, wink, wink. Jackson's still on the fence for that one. Oh no, you've got Nord, but you gotta do the other membership thing. They are on board with Packfiller, trick the internet into allowing you to watch all of the racing online with a safe, secure, and consistent VPN connection. Trust us, we are all NordVPN believers here. Use our link at Packfiller to get started, and it is not. You feel like you're doing something wrong. Like you're logging on to, oh my God, my computer thinks I'm in Canada. And you're okay. It's not. There's nothing wrong. It's just, and it works. And someday, the bike race providers are going to crack down on it. But until then, let's live the glory. Because there's 2 this weekend, and I'm so happy. Although, no, I'm not gonna poo-poo it. Let's play bikes. We made it with Omloop Het Nieuwsblad this upcoming weekend. The light at the end of the tunnel has officially been lit. I spoiled that a couple seconds ago. Speaking of lit, the beverages have been poured, and we are on our YouTube channel live at packfiller.com and obviously our YouTube channel. Welcome to the Packfiller Podcast. I'm Pat Bulger, and we're without Waples tonight, which means no interruptions and fewer mentions of Peter Sagan. That's right, Peter Sagan. That was my David impression. Let's jump right in with tonight's prologue, gentlemen. Have you ever heard of the 4 C's? I guess it's an icebreaker thing. The 4 C's.
So diamonds?
No.
No, it's a 4K. So carrot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cut.
So this time's it's cartoon character, color, car, and cuisine that best describe you. Cuisine, not cuisine. I don't know what I'm not starting off well. So a cartoon character, a color, a car, and a cuisine that you would use to describe yourself. And I'll help you with those along the way. Yeah, in case you get stuck. So first off, he's single-handedly managing the keg of stout, Mr. Paul Main. I had some this weekend, so if it goes dry, you'll know.
Oh.
You can blame it on me.
Okay.
But,
well, it's the bigger of the.
It is.
Of the cakes.
And so we're gonna have to either that or we're gonna be drinking it in July when it's really hot.
Yeah.
I'm too much of a tight ass. So the 4 C's. Oh, did I say your name, Paul Main? Paul Main.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Cartoon character, color, car, and cuisine. What do you got for us?
Cartoon character. I'm kind of like Wile E. Coyote, not the Roadrunner portion.
Oh, the science one.
But kind of. It's the Morning Ralph.
Oh, yes.
The sheepdog with the sheepdog.
I love those.
Yeah.
I'm
kind of like that. I never seem to really get grasped. I've got some good ideas. They just go bad. That one. You know. The Roadrunner one, he's really stupid.
Yeah.
I like when he's Wile E. Coyote genius.
Yes.
But, I'm not a genius by any
like
means.
that.
Yeah.
No, Jackson has no idea what you're talking about, and that's just a crime.
I know who
Wile E.
that
Coyote
is, yeah.
But not the Morning Sam, Morning Ralph.
Morning Fred.
Yeah.
No.
It's too bad. Those were brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Color.
Green.
Green.
I'm always been
It's your thing.
into green.
Okay.
Yeah.
Car. Oh, shit.
I'll have to go with, because I think I am a little bit odd, like a 1972 Mazda rotary engine car. Just rotary engine. Not your typical piston.
Yeah.
It doesn't, breaks down a lot.
My dad drove an RX-7 for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And it was fast.
That was previous before that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
this
say
was late 80s, early
Yeah.
90s. Yeah.
I say that because I had a 72 Mazda RX-2.
Oh, okay.
And I grew up in a small farm town where it was tradition that every farm kid at 16, their dad bought them, and it was either a Firebird Trans Am or a Camaro or Z28. You got a Camaro,
Wow.
but a Z28 if your dad was a rich
Yeah.
farmer. And those guys, or Charger, they had all those.
Holy shit.
And I show up with this small little tin can rotary engine. It sounds like bumblebees in a tin can.
Did they just want to thin the herd by buying their kids these cars or something like that? Jesus.
I had no idea.
I got like a 74 Vita Bug.
Yeah.
Wow. Guess farming is more lucrative than insurance.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Theme song's over, but let's just keep it going. He's the only reason the fridge has cider, because I will not stock Coors Light. Mr. Jackson Bulger, how are you, man?
I'm good, thanks.
Your Coors Light's becoming your new thing, I'm noticing.
Well, it's really light.
Have you been punished?
No, I kind of like the flavor. It's really light, so it's not like. I will say, I feel like the beers that you guys drink are very heavy for me, and they kind of fill me up really quickly.
They are, yeah.
So then it's a little bit easier for me.
Should I get you a lighter beer on tap?
No, I'm happy with this stuff.
Really?
Yeah, this will never fill me up.
Okay.
Yeah. By this, I mean the ciders never fill me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm maybe accustomed to them at this point.
Yeah. 4 C's.
So first of all,
cartoon character.
Yeah, cartoon character. The first one that came to my mind was Samurai Jack. I feel like
great choice. Great cartoon.
I feel like he was a man of few words, speaks with his actions, kind of.
Wow.
So yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Thanks.
Color.
See, it's funny, Paul, that you mentioned green. I was also going to mention green, but I was going to mention green one because it is one of my favorites, but it's also, I've heard that if you want a relaxing room, you paint the room green.
Really?
Yeah. So if any of you feel relaxed when you're in here, it's because it's green.
Wow.
But yeah, I feel like I'm pretty laid back and relaxed.
You are. You are.
Mhm.
You are. Yeah.
So I would
I'm trying to figure out who you got that from. Car.
It's funny that I drive this, but I was gonna say a Subaru because
Yeah.
I'm reliable.
Whoa.
You treat me well enough, and I'll just keep going.
Help you out.
Yep.
Yeah.
My bad.
Okay. Cuisine.
Cuisine.
Did we do your cuisine, Paul?
No.
We didn't do your cuisine.
No, but
What's
go
your
ahead and do
cuisine?
yours.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Cuisine that would describe me. I don't know if I have something that would describe me. What I like though is I always keep going back to like something with like Mexican food,
Oh.
like Mexican cuisine.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think that would really describe me though.
No,
'Cause-
it does to a certain extent because it's kind of relaxing. It's not too formal. It's
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
There you go. Although you tend to be formal. Paul, what was your cuisine?
Spaghetti.
Nice.
Noodly.
Yeah.
Little saucy at times. And very cheesy.
Oh, okay. Very cheesy. My name's Pat Bolger, and I'm going on my 5th week whiskey free.
Nice.
Wow.
Not for any reason. I'm not saying that as God knows there's beer in front of me. It's some sort of like better than thou gone dry or anything like that. It just doesn't sound very good to me. My at AFib, I was like going, I'll stop for a while. And every time I've looked at the bottle since, I've been like, I don't know if I want any.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam's got to come over and drink my whiskey. My cartoon character is Daffy Duck. It's always been Daffy Duck. Probably because I maybe occasionally have bouts of rage. Color, I pick green because I've always loved
Wow,
green.
we're green.
Yeah,
here.
wow,
we're
look
all
at that.
green.
Yeah.
Always been a green guy. My car. Now, I used to own one of these, a Porsche 914, and there's a reason for that because it's kind of cool. It used to be cheap. You can pretend you're better than you are, and it's not very fast. And my cuisine has always been pub grub.
Yeah.
I love pub
yeah.
grub. I love just like burgers and fries or, all that kind of stuff you can get at a good pub. So there we go. And that means we are without two Waples brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Notice the silence and that I technically started on time. So let's get to the training update, gentlemen. How are things going? We are just 1 week from March.
Thank God.
By the way, March always sucks around here. I don't want anybody to get... that's not me being pessimistic. That's me being realistic. March is never good weather-wise around here. I don't think so. Right?
I feel like the last few years it's been a
yeah.
little better.
We get some cold snaps, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's cold, if it's below freezing, that's not fun. But
Yeah.
at this point, with March for me, and even this weekend, I'm going to sneak out for a couple of rides on the road without a doubt.
Are you really?
Yeah, because it's going to be above freezing.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard when you start off, and even if it's 33 degrees and you roll out, there's patches and shaded areas,
Yeah.
so you can hit ice. Because we get a little bit of moisture and stuff's melting off, so a runoff. But March, I should be hitting every weekend now.
Wow.
At least, yeah. And maybe on my days off, my rotating days off too.
You are better than I. I think I'm still going to roovie for a while.
Oh yeah, I'm done. Like we talked about it, we're done with
Yeah.
indoor training. Even as much as I enjoy that, it's not the same. I just,
I don't feel like I've done that much. Maybe that's my problem. Oh, shit. Now I'm nervous. Now I'm stressed because I think oh God, am I undertrained? This is how my brain works. How'd the last week go?
I mean, it was fine. I did the same thing every week.
You do.
Yeah.
You're sticking to a solid plan.
Yeah. So it's really not changing at all. I'm excited to see what all this work. This is probably the hardest that I've ever trained over the winter.
Really?
Yeah. And so I'm interested to see what all that work shows when I actually go outside, because it's just such a different beast. The two are.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how the indoor form translates to outdoor, because I feel like the cooling and everything, like that'll help keep heart rates down and all that. But yeah, I don't know. It's been good.
Are you finding, Paul, especially as somebody who came from, all the other platforms, I'm finding on Ruby, my FTP, my watt numbers are lower than they were on Zwift or something like that.
I think, because I don't really follow the numbers, but I find it way more difficult than Zwift. I mean, it seems like looking at percentage of a climb at like a 6%, it is, to me, it feels more like a 6% climb on the road. And those steeper 12% and stuff, I'm digging in. It's a different, however they figure that out.
Yeah.
It is completely different.
And there are times where I'll look and it says I'm doing 400 watts or something like that, and then I can't sustain it very long.
Mm-hmm.
But on Zwift,
Yeah.
I could hold it a little longer. So I don't,
And you have the same measurements and everything.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
You put it in. Huh.
Yeah. I even did an FTP test on both platforms.
And then on Swift, were you like eating burritos or putting on a helmet or
No, I didn't do any of the video game shit. No, none of that stuff. I've never been able to do that because I would do it either through my Apple TV or on a laptop, which was too far away. I don't want to reach over and type a fucking text message while I'm doing any of that stuff, or even click the go faster for 10 seconds or something like that. I wouldn't even do that in races.
Do you ever change your camera angle?
On Zwift?
Yeah, or even Ruby.
Ruby, I've set it to first person, where all I see is what's
in front of you,
what the car sees, or what the motorbike that filmed it sees.
Yeah,
and that's it. I don't want to see other riders. I don't want to see myself. I don't want to see myself in real life. So it's like, yeah.
It's interesting because I do have those bots, and there's
You
three that follow me. Emily, I just call M. Peter, I call P. And then there's
MP.
Will,
Yeah.
and I just call him Dub.
Dub.
Hey, Dub.
Nice.
And
Dub.
and they piss me off
You speak
because
to them.
I drop, because then I'm getting pissed off because I dropped them and they come. It doesn't matter how hard I go, I drop them, and they take turns attacking me.
Yeah.
They're just bastards. And I think, you think you're so cool?
Yeah.
Hey, Dub, wait until you see this
Wow.
next climb. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they mess with me, though. I can't drop
Are you joking right now?
No,
because
I'm
you're
not.
starting to freak me out a little bit.
I do that. I don't shout it because it really upset my wife.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Dub, what are you talking about? Oh, this bot is in front of me, So
Wow. No, I don't. I turned all those off.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did it without, and it was a good incentive. Every once in a while, I could film myself if I don't have something to chase. And there is people. Have you chased? Do you see people?
Oh, I
them
chase
down?
people.
And
I
then
chase
people
all the
chasing you
time.
down.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Oh no, I like that.
But I almost caught this one guy on Roubaix, and he disappeared.
I get that a lot too.
But I've done it to someone
like
else,
they
but I
log
only
off.
had a half hour to ride.
Yeah.
And so they're probably thinking, I was just about ready to catch him.
Yeah.
Baby.
I do that all the time. I chase down people, and then I got onto a guy who I thought is just playing with the algorithm or some sort within the game. It's the app itself. Like I'd be like 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, and then 80 seconds. I'd be like, "Huh? What? You? Huh? I was about to catch you," and then all of a sudden it jumped to 60 to 70 to 80 seconds, and I was like, "Did you just reach over and like fast forward yourself through the game? The app? Oops, I don't know." Yeah. Something to think about. I got in Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, Sunday, and Monday this week. Although Monday technically is the current week, but I included it because I did 3 days in a row and I was proud of myself. And it felt really good. It felt good to just. My wife left for the weekend. It was me and the dogs, and so I was just like going, I'm gonna. In fact. This is sad if you stop and think about it. From Saturday at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon to Monday, until this morning. Mm-hmm. No, Monday I had to leave. I didn't leave the house for over 36 hours.
That's great.
I hung out here. I got shit done. I worked on my house. I cleaned my Roomba because the Roomba found a gigantic pile of dog shit. I sent you guys that picture.
Yeah.
And but the Roomba found the dog shit at like 12:15 in the morning, and I didn't find the Roomba until 8 o'clock that next
After
morning.
it smeared it out.
Yeah. Smeared it. It looked like somebody spun a Brody in my living room
with dog shit.
And then it got all the way underneath my trainer, and it got stuck on it, and and so my extension cord that plugs in my laptop and my training mat all had shit on it, and it had all dried. Crusty dried.
I will say cleaning wise though, that's probably way easier to do though.
What?
Crusty rather than like that wet smeary stuff.
Yeah, but you have to get it wet to get it off.
I had to get it wet. I had the Roomba down here in the shop sink, upside down with a brush, just scrubbing at it. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes the scrub residue hit me in the face.
Well, yeah.
And
don't smile while you're doing it.
Oh no! It hit me in the face a couple times, and I just did the oh god! And the smell was so bad.
I believe that.
But I had a good weekend.
Nice.
And it felt good it felt good to just kind of, no offense to my wife, but it felt good to train every day without her going, really? You're gonna do that? I was like, hey, I'm doing dishes. I mopped the entire main floor of my house, obviously, because there's dog shit everywhere. And yeah, I got a lot done. And it was nice. And napped and watched movies and rode my bike. And it was so good. I'm in a full training cycle. I think I'm focusing on the speed and power. I'm back at that. I hope I don't have to reset soon. And I know that Paul's going to poo-poo this, but I do believe in a longer kind of zone 2, zone 3 type of ride every week. And so this week it was a 2-hour, and I'm going to build upon that. And, nothing too major, but because I think if I'm doing
you spend 2 hours on the trainer?
Yeah. Well, I get off every 30 minutes and do squats and some sort of an upper body weight for I'll get off every 30 minutes and do 100 squats, hop back on the bike, get off every 30 minutes and next 30 minutes and do bench pulls, hop back on the bike. That 30-minute increment helps me keep it going. It helps me stay in the zone. And I'm listening to a book on tape. I'm listening to David Sedaris because he's funnier than shit. And you don't have to get committed because they're all essays. They're 15, 20-minute long mini stories.
He's very funny.
Very funny. And so I've just been doing that. Yeah.
Is that the
2 hours?
The book with the elf when he was an elf?
This one is Happy Go Lucky.
Wow.
Yeah. It's one of his earlier ones, I think. But
does he read it?
Yeah.
Because this voice is perfect for
it. Yeah, he reads it, and then some of them are when he does them live.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'm loving it. And so I think 2 days a week off. How many days do you take a week off, Jackson?
So I really do 3 days on, and then the others are off.
3 straight?
No,
1,
not
2,
straight.
3. Oh, okay.
I do typically, unless I want to
3 and 4.
Yeah. Typically, unless I want to change it up, I'll do like a Monday, Wednesday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
Paul, how many days you go on?
Typically, 3.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm doing too much then. Well, I need to.
No.
I need to catch up. The ticker and then that. I don't know why I'm. Those 2 weeks of the play, I keep thinking is longer than it was, and it just makes me go,
felt
oh
like
no,
it did.
It did. It did.
Damn
And
kids.
I get to the point where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm behind. And nothing new here. Who signed up for the Twilight series? Nobody.
Well,
I got crickets.
I'm waiting for financial stability.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna, obviously, but just at what point?
Yeah. There's a lot of little expenses along the way. 6 races this year.
Yeah.
It's good.
I plan on it. There's
Yeah.
several different things. I have to look at the schedule again.
2 in
because
April.
it's on Thursdays, and that's when we get our granddaughter. So
Boy.
that's a little bit tough, and I might be able to. Once we hit in June,
Anybody
she's out of
wanna go
school.
see-
It's not that big of a deal.
Anyone go see Papa race?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Who
always
wants
great.
to go race?
And the
Buy
other
your
part is,
pizza at the casino.
I am contemplating doing bees because of my age. I don't know because you can't. And once you sign up, you can't go back. But I could go forward.
If you go bees, I'm contacting Badlands tonight.
and
Racing bees.
oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much. Yeah, to me, it's like I want to before I make a commitment.
Son of a bitch!
No, I'm just saying I'm not.
All these years,
I'm 61 now.
I don't care. You've been busting my balls
I know,
for a decade.
because you're like 5 years younger than I am. Now, mind you, it only crossed my mind this time, but I would like to just leave that room if I see that I'm hanging with you guys in training and I feel okay, then I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
But I don't. I mean, it's so weird to see like every year, just like wow, that's not coming back. That's like even power. Looking at my power when I'm like that had been close to 1,000. It wasn't even close. But I'm not totally in shape either, and so anyway, yeah, I've contemplated. I'm just saying that.
All right. If you do, I'm pulling the trigger.
And you're going to step down to a piece,
Yes.
huh? Yeah.
Let these guys crush the
Yeah.
A's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I was in, I'm not going to win an A race, A category race. For the people who don't understand, this is our weeknight road racing series. It was huge for decades, for 80s, 90s, even into the 2000s, and now it is returned, and they're doing 6 races to get a good start, and they categorize in A, B, C's. Is there a D?
I don't think so.
No.
And they would be what you would expect for those categories, and we've got some ringers in our community, and for many years, we were expected to race the A's, and
Now the next generation.
God, that hurts to say, but it's kind of true.
You have a next generation.
Yeah, avenge
You
me.
can live through me.
Yeah. And there were a couple years that the B's were fast. I don't know what they're like now.
They're usually younger
I'm
guys.
not bashing anybody in the B's. If you're listening to this show and you race B's, let me know what it's like.
I'm not worried too much because the speed will be up there, and that's what I need is speed, and it's not winning. It's getting a good, nowadays, training races back when we did it was $5.
Yeah.
And now it's what, 30? $30 or something like that. So, I don't mind that money, but I don't want to be in the A's and about halfway through without even helping these guys or doing anything. I just get popped off the back.
Yeah.
That's doing nothing for me. I don't want that to happen. But if I'm able to even chase one breakdown or do a lead out, if I make it that far, help on the lead out, then that I don't have a problem. But I don't know where I'm at 61 yet.
Yeah. So is there? I would like to know if there's a way to start in a category and then drop down. But used to have a rule on that series. You can't go down. You can only go up. Oh,
and
wow.
so that's where I have to do some research. So reaching out, these guys are pretty laid
they're
back.
great people. Yeah.
And I'll just say, hey, listen, I've always done A's. I've always been an A.
Yeah.
I'm 61. If I find out it's too much, can I drop down?
Yeah.
That's
if you drop down to B's, and it's not like you'd suddenly start cleaning house. I mean, and again, that's to
no, I
not
probably would
disrespect
not.
the people in
But
B's.
I think that
you could be
just because they
involved.
don't have any racecraft.
Yeah.
That I know that I at least
You could
have
be
something.
involved.
Yeah, be involved.
Yeah. Jackson, you're just screwed. You have to race A's.
Yeah. Which I'm fine with. I think that's what I need. I think I have a little bit more of that racecraft. I've been thinking about it a lot more, and I think that instinctually I won't act off of strictly that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy about it.
There are other races on the list. I noticed that Jack's going to be happy that I say this. I'm probably going to mispronounce the name of his town, Squim, and 2 Mason Lake road races are back in March.
Nice.
But I've become the age where it's a long way to drive for
Yes,
one
it is.
race.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack is going to be texting all of us in about 24 hours when he's listening to this show. And he's going to go, you can stay with me.
I'll make kimchi.
Yeah, exactly. Because apparently he's got a shitload of it.
Yeah.
To drive 7 hours, is it
It's pretty close to that 6 hours.
Yeah, that's a long way to drive for one race, and then turn around and drive home.
Yeah.
On a Sunday night when you got to go to work on Monday. Does that make me an old curmudgeon? Well, more of one.
Well, it doesn't make you a 20-year-old who has a part-time job and they're a Cat 2. Yeah. We would not even blink an eye.
Yeah.
But when you're deep in mortgage and you're not doing it to go ahead of things, that's a big commitment,
Yeah, and I will say, I keep bringing up the money of it all, but it's like the prices of things have just rocketed. Like one race entry now is like what used to be $20 is now like $130 for a day race. It's like, oh my God. And then to drive over, it's like, is it possible?
Tank of gas there, tank of gas home.
It's like $200. Yeah. Like that's just, I know it sounds terrible.
Even when you do have somebody to stay with.
Yeah.
It gets pretty brutal. So that's going to take me into the topic. We're seeing an uptick in events happening, which is a beautiful thing to see. We're also seeing a decline in the overall bike industry. The reports have been saying that, like, for example, I don't have the exact figures in front of me, but sales in Shimano have been reported to be down as low as approaching 50%. Multiple reports of brands filing for bankruptcy. Speaking of which, this is going to hurt you too. BMC just announced the reduction of hours for their employees to avoid layoffs. And finally, with shops sitting on massive inventories and nobody walking in to purchase that inventory, things seem to be in a tough spot, although with some peaks of light here and there, which seem to be approaching. So what I wanted to talk about tonight was the rise and fall of bike racing and bike industry. Rise and fall and rise. I mean, with this ebb and flow, but the ebb is getting pretty drastic. And a lot of it seems to have started with the pandemic. For racing, I think everybody can agree, obviously, on all levels, a complete shutdown. What do you guys recall your racing life like back in 2019, 2020, 2021, even up into 2022? I recall the rise, and you guys could probably fill in the gaps for me, like the rise of the staggered Gran Fondo. We're doing wave starts and things like that, being something that kind of came into prominence, but not a whole lot else.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really went out and reinvented the wheel. It was really just like, I mean, my career didn't really start until post-pandemic, like my serious racing career. So 2020, I mean, I think did a race in 2021? So that was the first real one that I did, and it was like, it didn't really feel that different, but I think I did start to notice like a lot more of like the wave starts for sure. But I don't really feel like a lot more was a lot else was changed. I mean, I remember there was times when people were talking about, we'll race like masked together, and everybody was thinking like that's going to be such a bad idea.
Yeah.
Everybody having a mask on, but I mean, it hasn't really, I don't feel like format wise has changed.
Yeah. And was there anything in retrospect that could have been done differently? I mean, knowing what we know now.
I don't think so. I think with the lockdown, especially the state of Washington, we were kind of locked down compared to some of our neighbors and stuff. So that forced promoters to kind of put things off. And I think a lot of races kind of probably, I'm not for sure, but a lot of them were on the edge because road racing is not that big. It's just cashed it in. I mean, why bring it back? It's not going to happen this year, that type of thing. So, especially on the west side of our state, used to be pretty full with races, and it still has way more than we have on our east side of our state, but not like it used to. I went up to the WSBA our calendar and I looked and it's like, wow, there used to be a Jack Frost time trial, gone. Then the outside of COVID, but the promoter of the one that's near Jack's place, the one that he designed, I can't even remember the
Oh,
name.
is it Vance Creek?
Yeah, Vance Creek.
Yeah.
That one, well, the road got washed out from weather, so it destroyed some of that. And the promoter kind of cashed in right, I think maybe in 2019, and no one's picked it up.
Yeah. And I know that, and this has nothing to do with COVID, but I know that people get angry at promoters for saying they want to do it for profit. I'm sorry, everybody. That's how the world works. Nobody's going to. Well, there are some people who are going to go out there and put on a bike race just for the good of the sport and the good of the warm in their hearts. That's not happening as much anymore, especially since the concept of forced promotion left USA Cycling. People aren't going to put on a bike race unless they can, at very least, break even, and that's not happening anymore.
Well, supposedly, you're empty.
Uh-oh.
You got a little sip.
No.
Ace does not make money on this.
Yeah.
On Tour de Bloom, and they just another promotion, but they gave free entry to Cat 3, 4, and 5 race for women.
Yeah.
88. They have 88 people, women. That's like the largest Cat 3, 4, 5 women's race, I think, possibly in the country.
Ace is a regional promoter who's just taken it upon his shoulders to bring a lot of this back, and I would like to question him and understand what his reasoning for doing what he's doing, because I love to believe that he's just a wonderful person.
Because he is.
Or he's paying some sort of a penance for past sins. Because it's like, dude, I mean, I know a lot of promoters.
And he puts in a lot of effort in it. And his intentions is to bring road racing up, and particularly in the Pacific Northwest, where we were at one time really strong, thinking Redmond. Cycling Classic. We had Washington Trust. We had here in Spokane Olympic Trials in '84 and '88. Here, back to back. I mean, it's.
Why don't you think during the COVID years that time trialing didn't become a thing? I mean, that was something I always kicked around in the back of my head, going, it's the ultimate socially distanced bike race. Why? And you see it at such prominence in the UK, for example. Why is is it just a cultural thing? We need to be able to shove each other and yell at each other and then go get a burger?
Well, I think that it's just not attractive enough.
Really?
For the United States, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, it's just like...
But with the triathlon fad the craze, I mean... And
I will say,
like
I don't think it's as crazy as we think it is, though.
But it was, though. And you've got all these dentists with TT bikes in their basements.
No, for sure. I hear what you mean, but I don't know if it's attractive enough to bring like such a big audience. You know, I mean, when you two are scrolling on your Instagram feed, I know I can say this for myself. How many time trial like highlights do you see? You could probably count it on one hand.
Yeah,
it's just because it's probably not that entertaining. A lot of people don't specialize in time trialing when they're looking to be a bike racer, especially at our level, because owning a time trial bike is like putting on another mortgage on your house. Like it's so it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know if it ever had the legs to begin with.
I would have to agree with that. I think the equipment is a big deal because, if it was, I remember the Tuesday night races, that part of that we had 2 or 3 back in the Twilight series. Yeah. Time trials through like one a month, in fact.
Yeah.
But all we did is Merc style, what we call Merc style. Nobody had TT bikes then. And then when the funny bike came out, only a few did.
Yeah.
Roger, drink.
And you could still beat some of the people on funny bikes.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't keep their front wheel underneath.
Yeah.
But you tried riding that funny bike in there, you should try.
I don't need
to.
to.
It's just like whoa, 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 whoa.
But now, I watched the time trial with UAE Tour.
Yeah.
And Brandon McNulty won.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at, they're talking about looking at these bikes and stuff. They're so unique and it's so razor thin that the average guy
wouldn't be able to keep up.
And you can't keep up with it because every year something changes.
Yeah.
And as much as I enjoy TT, I don't even like it anymore. I don't even care. I used to watch TTs, but now it's all about equipment, and
Yeah.
it's not. You're not even into a natural position to get aero, and I agree with Jackson. Is like I think that's a lot of it. That's who wants to go out there, and even with my, 2010 TT bike, it's outdated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than Merck's,
Yeah.
but am I going to spend more money on that when I do it like 2 times a year? No.
Now, back then, in the COVID years, for the industry, things were never better. It was this wave of holy shit, and the demand was absolutely insane. First question is, do you guys think this was an actual factual demand, or was it just a quick burst? And I don't understand. I mean, this is me thinking in retrospect that the industry experts at any point would think, hey, this might just be a quick bump. Let's stay conservative and hold on to our numbers. But instead, it was almost like that mortgage crisis things where everybody just went, sell, build more. And then not understanding that there's this limited audience of people who are going to be buying bikes,
Mm-hmm.
and that there's going to be an inevitable crash. I mean, did you guys think it was going to never end at this point in time?
No, it's.
Why did the industry think this?
I think, strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
So I think that, I at least what I saw was, we have nothing else better to do.
Yeah.
So we like going for walks. We've done that a bunch. Going for run sucks.
Yeah.
So we might as well buy a bike. And a lot of people bought a bike, but
Yeah.
then once there was stuff to do, it's like, now we can go back to our gyms. Now we can go back to our crowded areas. It's like, I don't need the bike anymore.
Yeah. Peloton's a great example.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, holy shit, we're on a gravy train, biscuit wheel. Where'd everybody go?
Yeah. And I think that there's just so much inventory now that I keep bringing up the prices, but COVID really did jack up a lot of prices of a lot of these goods. And now we're kind of seeing those prices just stagnate at where they are. And it's like, I already have the bike that I bought during COVID. Why would I upgrade or buy another one? Like, why would I buy a gravel bike now when I've got this one that doesn't cost a new car?
Yeah. Is that what we've run into, that they bought their bikes and they're either riding them or they're collecting dust?
I think
globally, is that what we're basically sitting on? I mean,
I think a lot of people bought a lot of e-bikes, and now they're collecting a lot of dust.
Yeah.
Well, they're funny you brought this up as a topic. Escape Collective has a series, 4 series. They're on their 3rd one. You could probably listen to. They go pretty much in depth and talk to people in the industry. There were several people they didn't mention in the industry that said, we're going to be at 80% growth, we expect it to go on and on and on. So the small little guys like, oh my gosh, because they're getting people coming in. The number one, this one bike shop in Boulder, the lady said that $1,500 bikes is what they wanted. People were coming in. And once that was gone, it was gone. And then dealers were like, people want parts and stuff, or like, parts for SRAM or Shimano. Shimano, and I think it's a Japanese thing, or maybe just a Japanese corporation thing, they refuse to expand beyond 5% of their production. So they'll increase it to 5% because of these such situations.
Which is not necessarily a bad business call.
But everybody, typically are like, man, make hay while you can, produce, and then step back. There is, again, the series, I'm going to not do it justice, but it's, if you're really interested, just dive into those. There's people who are spending $1 million just storing some of their back stock. So many people wanted, like, let's say, I'll just use an example of Force, SRAM Force Group, and they couldn't get it from this supplier. They put it in anyway, and they keep putting in to every supplier waiting for it to come in. And then all of a sudden the tap goes off. And then all of a sudden all this production and everybody's going, we got your parts.
You've already ordered.
Yeah. And
You're
they're
committed.
like, they've gone elsewhere or it's gone. or these people have to pay for it and bring it in. So these small businesses are going out of business and they're sitting on inventory. Kona is buy one, get one free on their bikes.
Holy shit.
So, I mean, there's Giant is going to Dick's Sporting Goods.
I need Karsten in on this discussion too.
So, and that would be interested to hear his
Yeah.
perspective because of who he works for.
Yeah.
And you know, you would have been a fool to really think that we're riding a wave. Even if we got 10%, that would have been good.
Yeah.
And I figured at least 10%. I don't know if we even get 10% back, you know, from this big surge. If it's up here, let's say that the maximum interest, it would be nice if we had 10%. If I owned a bike shop, that's how I would think. It's like, just settle down. This is crazy. So,
and how did this not necessarily transfer over to events? We've got all these people with bikes. Families are out riding. Why aren't they signing up for a Fondo, intro to bike racing? Do you? I mean, is it the? I mean, and I can't blame this on American culture because this was a global phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
People stockpiled like toilet paper. They, you know, people bought all this bike stuff, and so it's sitting in bike shops, it's sitting in people's basements, and the next phase is that just the human condition that we just go and look for something else now, and it would have been great, but you know we didn't capitalize on this because I remember huge waves of growth within the sport, and I'm sure there are numbers. You know, you look at gravel numbers, you look at the sustainability that mountain bike has created. But it's not the numbers that we should have seen based upon the purchases that were from the COVID years. So, I mean, I know we're all just speculating here. None of us are industry experts, but it just seems so odd that didn't necessarily transfer over into a new wave of participants in events.
Well, I mean, it's interesting hearing from, my wife is training for a half marathon, and when we first talked about it, somebody mentioned to her like, "Oh, are you gonna try and like beat a certain like person or like a record or anything?" And that didn't even cross her mind. But the second that I sign up for a race, that I'm instantly like, I gotta beat this. Like I gotta be this placing and all that stuff. It's just I don't think that as many people are competitively wired like we are. Competition and that mass amount of distance, even competition, I mean like with yourself, is kind of a daunting, very intimidating thing that a lot of people don't want to approach. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if the three of us can really understand that perspective because it's like we talk about fitness or exercise and it always comes back to some sort of competition.
Yeah.
And that's just something that, believe it or not, a lot of people, which is beyond my thinking, is just people don't think about that.
But she's still signing up for an event, and there are cycling events that accommodate that mentality.
Right, but that's why I bring up even like competing against yourself is something that people don't even want to have to face. They just want to like go out for their ride, you know, and say, "Oh, I got my exercise, but I wasn't looking for a time." It's just that's something that I think a lot of people live in. Is just that I do it for exercise. I don't do it for like race results.
I think with Grand Fondos, there was, it hit a peak there for a while.
I'm surprised that peak has not continued.
It is. Well,
I'm really surprised.
Well, you'll just take like the big one around here is Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
So let's use an example like somebody who got into cycling for because of COVID and they really like it. And they hear about this Grand Fondo, and it's a ride around Lake Coeur d'Alene
with cookies
and Coca-Cola.
Hey,
but
Costco
they go to sign up, and how much is it?
It's expensive.
$100 and some dollars.
Yeah.
That to me that's a big thing. For us, it's like the only reason I do Grand Fondos or anything is because I want competition.
Yeah,
and these people aren't competitive, and they're like, well, why would I do other than I'm amongst my people, you know, my peers, and maybe meet some people, but do I need to pay $120, $30? And same with the chafe. You know, that's raising money for a cause, and that's good. But man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. With pricing, it won't go down. Pricing's it never goes down
For an event you're talking about?
across the board.
Bikes right now, if you're going to buy a new bike, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you start looking at different bikes. They're at like BMCs, or even you can get like a SRAM Red. The SRAM Red's not a good one, but a Force, like under $10,000. When it was $10,000, it seems like, or pushing that.
Yeah.
They're around 7,000. Time is cheaper. Yeah. So, but when it comes to events, they're not getting any cheaper.
So how do people just keep their same rates and let inflation catch up? So when you're looking at a $10,000 bike, when are we going to look at a $10,000 bike and go, that's a damn bargain? I mean, you almost just did.
Yeah, exactly. Anything below that, because what has been 10,000 or above, 15,000 for like an SL8, S-Works, tarmac. So, yeah, I mean, like that's still at a high price. I think the problem is getting back to that conversation that they had on Escape Collective, is that people wanted that $1,500 bike. It wasn't around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think there was a huge interest, but there was no product.
I think people still want that $1,500 bike.
Yeah.
Well, I was just like looking at bikes because I would love to, like all three of us sitting here, I would love to buy a new bike tomorrow.
I want
for
3
God's
new
sake.
bikes.
Exactly.
I want 3 new bikes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at Canyon, and it's like, talk about a brand that is is on another level of the competition. To see like a BMC or a Specialized costing $12,000, $10,000, under $10,000 now, and then you look at Canyon's prices, it is night and day. I was looking at a pretty much top of the line mountain bike for like pushing $3,000.
Mountain bikes are going to be cheaper than road bikes.
I wish
I've understood that.
I was even looking at gravel bikes and everything. Like, the highest you're going to get is $4,000, and that to me is like, it's just like I said, it's just such a different game that we see now, and I'm interested to see when a lot of these suppliers, I wonder if they will begin to think, we can't hold the staff. Are we going to just move to online sales,
or create a middleman opportunity where if I buy a bike through Canyon, it gets sent to my local Canyon dealer, who assembles it, gets a piece of the pie, fits me, and then hands it to me out the door.
They gotta have that set up. They have recommendations. Of where you take your bike.
Absolutely.
There's actual bike shops now, so that they will say, here's where you recommend it in your area, that type of thing. And Canyon is cut their prices, even if you look.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're probably one of the strongest, healthiest ones, and they are like millions of dollars in losses.
Yeah.
Everybody's hurting.
Yeah. It's just, I will say, when I look at a brand like that, I go, damn, I could do that. As like somebody who's still early off in their career. Yeah. It's just like, I wish that we would trend towards that area, but then you take away a lot of the little people, that work. Yeah. Not little. I don't mean like literal little people. I mean like the little guys, like the small shops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I had to really.
No, I didn't think you were talking about Peter Dinklage, being upset because you weren't buying bikes.
I wanted to be clear.
I understood what you meant.
Well, I mean, things evolve.
Yeah.
And even in that situation, if manufacturers want to do that, you could set up a business, where you have to accept the fact that bikes, you're not going to sell the bike. The problem is selling bikes. Bikes bring people into the bike shop. The margins aren't all that good. And by the time, in fact, this is back in the 90s, if you sold a bike less than $350, you only made a $20 profit.
That's absolute bullshit.
No, it is not. Because your margins are like 30%. You have to pay somebody to assemble it.
Sure.
And then you have to consider your inventory loss, because it's going to sit there for a while. And then you have a free tune-up, which is going to cost labor, and you're paying a salesman to sell it. So you have that labor involved on those.
And add into the fact that, sorry to interrupt, please hold that train of thought, because add into the fact that I don't remember growing up that shops holding social gatherings, team club rides, no drop rides, all those types of things. It's almost like a bike shop has to take onto itself as a social institution in order to get you to buy a bike, which you're probably going to do online anyway.
Yeah. Or and that's what happens. Even, we weren't really a mountain bike shop. And about halfway through my, working for this bike shop, mountain bikes were just hitting. No one wanted to touch. People were bringing in Colnago Masters and say, what can I get for a trade-in? Well, nobody wants it.
Yeah.
I can't. We couldn't even accept it. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I'm like, are you crazy? How much do you want to give me?
Yeah.
How much will you take for it? But,
yeah.
That's just how it is. Bikes aren't. So I think things are going to evolve a little bit. This is my take on it for the future for bike shops. Disc brakes are going to be a very helpful thing for them. Electronic stuff.
Somebody could work on
because
that.
there's people who are going to be. Although even with an app and stuff, we could probably figure out electronic shifting. Sure. In fact, I know we can. But disc brakes, sometimes you're going to have some problems feeding. Do I have 3.5 hours today to feed my new hoses? And a lot of people don't know that you should be changing out your oil and hoses every 2 years with your disc brakes. There you go. A lot of people are going until it fails, and you don't want them to get to that. And are you measuring your rotors? Mm-hmm. Are you down to minimum? On pads, people
don't know that.
Yeah, and to be honest,
there's a source like Cycle Systems Academy.
There you go.
Yeah,
but there is a lot of, and I'm just as guilty as anybody else when it comes to maintenance. We have a tendency we just want to ride our bikes. Majority of us do.
It's working.
Not all of us have our calipers to measure our disc rotors and going, oh shit, it's time to change that out.
Yeah.
It's usually a failure, unfortunately.
So shops are going to become a repair oriented industry.
And small parts. Some small little water bottles, cages, stuff that you would get.
How is that a sustainable
labor is where you made your money in a bike shop.
Yeah.
If you can get them in for repairs, that's why you had bikes, is so you can get them to come in for repairs. And when I sold a bike, they would tell me, I'm looking at a Trek, and I would say, hey, just let you know, we work on all kinds. Yeah. Because we may not get this sell, but if we can get your repairs,
wow,
we would. Yeah.
Wow. God, I don't know if that's depressing or not. And then, this, because our show tends to focus on the racing and that aspect of the lifestyle, it's hard to kind of comment on especially America's love affair with the automobile and the fact that will cycling ever become a viable alternative to America's love affair with the car?
No.
Yeah, that's the problem. We live in a country that is always going to want to, press on a gas pedal and drive to work, whereas you're not going to get that commuter culture. I wish we could. I don't mean to be poo-poo, but
it's tough because we just have too much space.
We do. Especially living where we live.
Apart,
yeah. I've met people who think that we in Spokane are a suburb of Seattle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a 300-mile suburb.
Yeah.
And we just don't, with that expanse, you're going to need to drive. Unless we have some form of amazing public transit system, still would love a high-speed train to get from here to Seattle.
Yeah.
That'd be a beautiful thing, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, even thinking about waking up in the morning, getting ready and everything, getting to work would probably be 45 minutes.
By
bike.
Public transport. Oh, by bike?
By bike, yeah.
For you?
Oh, yeah. It takes me at least 15 minutes to get there.
Really?
Yeah.
By car.
By car.
It'd probably be just double that, probably a half hour. You'd be surprised. I would give it a try sometime.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Commuting is like...
You do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Quite often.
Uh-huh.
And living downtown, it probably has accommodated that even more so.
I'm finding out we're using a car a little bit more. One, grocery stores they're nothing in downtown Spokane. There isn't one. So
and then one is closing down, right?
Which one is that?
The
main market.
Oh, main market is?
Yeah.
I thought Fresh Basket was.
Yeah, main market. Fresh Basket is, and that's, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
The advantage to me is on my way home,
Sure.
I can pick it up,
Right.
and then if it's small load, I can just carry it in my bag and bring it home. But
Okay, let's sum up. Where do you see things headed in terms of the bike industry? First off, what trends will save it, and how long is this lull going to happen? Anybody got a philosophy on that one?
I mentioned it before, but I'm interested to see where this online retailer really takes it, because it's already big, but I'm interested to see if it kind of pulls it in.
So the sales process is what's going to change it, in your
I
opinion?
think so. I guess so.
Reinventing how people connect with the bike
industry.
shop,
Yeah.
with bike sales.
Yeah.
Wow. I'd be interesting to see how that works, because the average person who doesn't know a size medium from a large, from a top tube length to,
But I will
fork rake,
Sure.
is going to,
Well, I will say though, going onto a website like that, they still give you it's like a size chart when you're ordering a T-shirt.
Yeah.
They have that size chart. You enter in your measurements, and they spit out the thing that would fit best for you. And then that's when it comes to the shops, the shops, the fitters, all that
guy
stuff.
like Sam.
Yeah. Seriously though, that's where the shop and the fitters are going to really have their control, is after that bike's already been purchased and sent to their shop.
Especially the higher up you go in the price range. God, this is something that could help somebody like Sam doing what he does with okay, you're thinking of buying this higher end price range. It sounds like you're fairly serious about this type of cycling. Maybe we recommend this fitter. They send us the numbers, and then all of a sudden you start that process and you get something more dialed.
And then I could see it almost going in the way of
Price
cars.
stuff.
I mean, for instance, we have in Spokane, there's a place called Hopkins that is a Subaru certified mechanic. And then I wonder if we will begin to, with shops, see this is a BMC, Trek, Pinarello certified shop, to where they can work on those, and they are the best at that.
That's not a bad outlook. What do you think, Paul?
yeah, I think there's something to it. You can't deny the way things are changing. That even any box store or any brick and mortar store, unless it's a small mom and pop shop, in all industries is changed. I mean, even box stores, you look at malls, are dying, right?
Yeah.
So, or if not dead, because everybody does things online, and I think that's where we have to make our adjustment. And like Jackson was talking about size, you can get them directed, but my concern is that only helps people what size you ride.
Yeah.
100%.
And I know what geometry will work for me. And even if we got sponsored by a bike, a bike manufacturer, if I looked at geometry, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to make that work for me, because yeah. I mean, other than doing weird things with the seat and stuff, center of gravity, the way I ride is just something I've done for a long time. Yeah, I can get into the position, but if it's a longer top tube, my center of gravity's moved forward, right? So then you're doing all this different moving around. So I think that if we start seeing, bike shops will be more mechanical, and then providing, some aid to upper end stuff, and carrying little odds and ends. Somebody, especially with mountain bikes, they like the wider bars, and stuff, or somebody breaks one. But I just don't see inventorying all that is a good thing. But cheaper bikes, I don't know how it's going to work to get new people into it, other than department stores, and that's probably where Giant is ahead of the game, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll go to Dick's and sell, because they do wonderful down low end.
Yeah.
In fact, all my grandkids, my kids grew up with Giant bikes, because they do a great job with kids' bikes and introducing, and they do have, it's just one of those things that I think manufacturers, if they want to cater to that, Pinarello's not interested in that.
No.
And then I just heard a good podcast again on Escape Collector about Clenago.
Yeah.
Drop bars is all they're going to do. Drop bar, gravel and roads.
Wow.
And so you're not going to have this wide spectrum. You're just going to specialize in these type of things.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it's going to go.
And I mean, look at what Campagnolo's trying to figure out right now.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody said that Campagnolo's saving grace is going to be gravel. if they focus on that not GRX. Oops, that's Shimano. Ekar group.
They
set.
got a cheaper version of that.
That could be the only thing to potentially save them because it's just not going to work. Wow. Okay. Events will mass start mixed surface fondos dominate the landscape. Is that the future? By the way, when I say these things about where the future's going, it sometimes cracks me up when people are like going, well, blah, blah, blah. It was, it's been this way. It's been this way. Well, the way it used to be didn't used to be the way it was. Things evolve, things advance. In this country, road cycling wasn't really a thing until pretty much predominantly it didn't come into the 70s, And so we can't fear potential change and evolution and growth. And so, when the classic concept of the road race time trial criterion, it's not been around that terribly long, the 70s, 80s. So let's just relax. And where do we see things evolving in terms of events? Are we going to be staring down the barrel of math start? Everybody gets a cookie and a ribbon, and which I'm saying that in a condescending way, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because if I want to race a Fondo and I want to race it to win, I'm not stopping for Kirkland peanuts. I'm powering through. Mm-hmm. But somebody back behind me can stop for Kirkland peanuts and enjoy a Red Bull or something like that. But where do we see events evolving in the sport?
I will say I have this weird feeling about it. I think that mountain biking, first of all, has not ever really gone away. It's always been very popular.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to have like a resurgence. I just have a weird feeling about it. I feel like it's like these longer distance mountain bike races are going to get really popular.
I agree. I agree, especially
like a 24-hour.
Or like
our numbers are up.
Yeah.
Our numbers
Good.
are up. Not gonna lie,
Excellent.
our numbers are up this time from last year.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Or like a 24-hour or like an 80 to 100 mile mountain bike race.
Yeah.
I feel like those are really big. We see like the kind of getting a little gnarlier mountain bike races. We see that, or not mountain bike races, gravel races.
Yeah.
We see that gravel bikes, people are trying to push them towards that mountain bike area, and then the further you get to that, you're just going to get a mountain bike again.
Yeah.
And so I think that those are going to really have an uptick in like popularity. I also think road racing, honestly, I think the excitement of it and the super easy marketability of it is going to have a big popularity.
I don't think it's going to be in road racing though. I mean, when I mean
I think
a road race.
I think criterium
crits are going to be
Yeah.
the saving grace because
you get,
it's a spectator friendly.
Exactly. And you get personalities like you do in any American sport.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that's where it's going to be.
Yeah. Paul?
Well, I think that being around for so long, you just start seeing things just go in cycles.
Yeah.
Because when I got into it, triathlons just started taking off in the 80s. And it's like people were abandoning road racing because of that.
Yeah.
And then Greg LeMond wins. And then there's a new surgence of,
Yeah.
here we got road racing. And then mountain bikes came. And then it's like nobody did road racing. And then in 99, this particular character wins the Tour de France. And then we go back up again.
It was
and
huge
hardly
again.
anybody was mountain biking. And I think some of it, and I like to beat up on the industry quite a bit, but they started, for mountain biking, it was we just had basic rigid bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started getting more and more complicated, which we needed suspension. I think that was really important.
Rear
Then
suspension's a beautiful thing.
Well,
I've owned one bike with
even
proper rear
front
suspension.
is like, can you imagine riding
God.
a mountain bike? That's probably more important than rear suspension, but rear suspension comes in that actually functions. They used to just throw it on there and make, you'd be bucked off and stuff like that. But, and even like finally figuring out disc brakes with hydraulics as opposed to cable. Because I used to work for a shop that had Fisher, and they had one of the first disc brake full suspension bikes. And that thing was pretty cool, but it was spongy, and they were still it was like figuring things out. But I think we'll see mountain bikes go up, and we'll see them go down. We'll see road racing go up for whatever reason, whether in America, Crits, if we can get that thing rolling, that'd be great. But all it takes is like an American to do well in the Tour de France, then there's a new, it brings it to the forefront.
Yeah.
I think we're going to just see that gravel. To me, it's already changed from even when we were nothing but gravel, and it's to the point where I look at it as that past that glory days, and now we're getting into like mountain bikes where everybody wanted a mountain bike, everybody wants a gravel. Then all of a sudden you see people winning gravel races with the road bikes. So why do I need a gravel bike?
Yeah.
And then things start changing,
And then you're also seeing people on gravel bikes, and this just kills me when I watch YouTube, on gravel bikes that are clearly riding a wonderful trail for a mountain bike. Would be so beautiful on just even a hardtail mountain bike with front suspension. And every time I bring it up, I get the naysayers going, hey, don't bash somebody for riding. Just ride what you got, man. Just quit being so judgmental. I'm like, fuck you. I want to be judgmental. Let me be judgmental. Let me bust somebody's balls without you thinking that I'm destroying them as a human being. God. I'm angry tonight.
Yes.
My dog's in a cone, and I should be. I just, I appreciate, all types, all bikes, all terrain, all things like that. But sometimes it's okay to just go, a mountain bike would be better on that. Hey, don't attack me. I'm not attacking you.
But I think that comes down to, don't you think people like that challenge? It's like, okay, this gravel bike, but then makes gravel bike pretty easy.
Yeah.
So let's take it on, since my full suspension bike made this trail easy, I'm going to try it on my gravel bike. And then that becomes the new challenge.
But then you turn 55 and you have shoulders like mine. So just take this advice.
The calcium buildup.
Just destroyed.
But you see what I'm saying a little bit? Like, we're starting to see, there's front suspension now on gravel bikes. Whoa.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, there's flat bars on gravel bikes. Yeah. Oh, now we just have a mountain bike.
No,
it's like, it's all just going to go back to where it started.
And all of us old folks are reminiscing the John Tomac days, where John Tomac was on drop bars on his mountain bike, winning the world downhill championships, back in the day. And, so it's like, there is so much gray area when it comes to this right now, that there is no one bike to properly, you're always underbiked or overbiked.
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of a promoter. You want to give them a challenge, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how many times you see like Grand Fondos with 10,000 feet of climbing?
Oh,
well, I'm not signing up for that.
Yeah.
There has to be a challenge in that, or else you're just, hey, pay me $100 and go around a flat,
Yeah.
So I can understand is for racing standpoint, and you bring up like Tomac on the downhill. Downhills, think about when he won that. There was sections where you had to pedal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that anymore. Yeah, it's
you would
not.
not win.
No.
Yeah. Oh no.
And he was a fit guy, and he raced in Europe with 7-Eleven. I mean, he was a road racer.
Yeah.
But things do change because it's not challenging enough, or it doesn't appeal. Now we got, I've got like 11 inches of travel in the front. Whoa, you're just ghost riding a motorcycle,
Oh man, but it sells bikes, I guess, in the long run. I'm constantly wanting at least 2 new bikes.
Yeah,
on the ones I already have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly, and I always will be. There we go. Let's jump. We didn't save anything, did we? We didn't save anything, but we made it an interesting conversation. Let's jump to tonight's segments. Thanks to our friends at Untapped Maple. Pure Vermont maple syrup is the core. Pure energy is the result. Grab some grape Maple-Aid while it's still hot off the presses. I don't know if hot off the presses is something you'd want to say about. Well, yeah. It'd probably be good. Anyway, I don't have you in any particular order. You guys have created 2 new segments that have been really dynamic and interesting. So I don't know who would like to jump into the foray and go first. We've got Paul with Changing Times. We've got Jackson with Style Points. Do we want to go in that? Or Jackson's already reaching for his device?
Yeah. We just kind of did.
Last week's
things are changing, so I'll give
last week's was so much fun.
Yeah. Well, this week, let's see if I can get my notes up. So I think that one thing that's really interesting about this sport is that it's not really like style is what you wear, but it's also what you ride.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think like it's funny that you mentioned the
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the Americans with the auto industry, right? How big it is. I think that in our sport we treat our bikes like we treat our cars. You probably even better than our cars, in all honesty.
Better than my car.
Yeah, 100%. So do
I understand it.
Yeah, yeah. So what I wanted to do was, because we are all three of us here, such bike nerds and like we also have a certain taste of bikes.
Yeah.
I wanted us to create the perfect bike.
Oh shit.
So
with the three of us?
Yes. But it's all personal. No.
Okay. We don't have to agree.
No. So like Paul, you can pick your own frame brand, and
okay.
Dad, you can pick your own frame brand. So we're going to start out. I like to start from the bottom and go up. So for your tires, I will give my input first and then I'll go around. So brand is the first thing that I would pick. I've only ever ridden Continental, so I will continue with Continental. Size, I'm going to pick 28s. And then the next question is tan wall or black wall tires.
Ah, that's what the first thing I thought of. Yeah.
I used to be tan wall, but I will probably stick with a black wall tire. So, Paul, what brand of tires are you going to stick
Continental,
with?
I've been through them all. And
Yeah?
that's been the most reliable, the best in all conditions, that type of thing. Yeah, without a doubt. If it was size, I just bought some 28s because only for this particular rim that I have, it's a carbon fiber,
right?
Like 5 centimeter deep wheel, and the inner portion of that rim is wider than my standard old rim brake stuff. so it actually lines up. So aerodynamically, it's good. It's not bulbous. It doesn't create so. But my other wheels will probably be around 20, 25 just for that purpose.
Okay. Oh my God!
But
nice.
Continentals, yeah. Blackwall.
Okay, there we go.
100%. I grew up with tan.
Yeah.
It's all there was.
Oh, and it's just road. You ride in bad weather and you try and scrub those things, and it looks like crap. Unless you just are really particular, you love scrubbing your wheels. That's not good.
That was very much like a 2018 to 2020 big fad.
Yeah,
was the tan wall tire.
It's a good look when they're clean.
Oh yeah,
they look like shit when they're dirty.
Because I remember just thinking of that Specialized, that Aero Specialized, all like shiny paint and everything, and then those beautiful bright tan wall tires. Yeah. Anyways, Dad, what are you going for? What is the brand?
You guys finished? Because I have tan sidewalls on my bike.
You do currently?
Yeah. And I have always ridden Continentals, but just recently,
even Vittoria back in the tubular days.
Oh, in the tubular days, I rode a lot of Wool Bears.
Oh yeah, that's right, Invulnerables.
Yeah, because they were heavy. But my dad was like Kevlar, and so it was like, they're like riding anchors. And when they blew, there were metal slivers in your hands.
Yeah.
But rode a lot of Contis. But recently, I just tried these Schwalbes. And I like the tire. It's a good tire. It's really resilient, for lack of another term. They've held on really well. And so I'm not necessarily as tire specific as I used to be, because I just think there are a lot of people doing some good shit out there. So it's I had never ridden Schwalbes before, and but I like them. I think it's a good tire.
Nice.
And they're gum walls. They're and you know what? I don't find them getting dirty.
Yeah.
I don't know if
They don't get dirty on a trainer.
I knew you were going to say that. You got it right, Pat. If you get a tub of towels, man, you just grab them, and that stuff just cleans right off. Probably eats away at the tire, but looks good.
I will say, I also think that a tan wall tire works on a specific color frame.
Yeah, my frame is orange.
It works really well with an orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like with certain colors, like I don't know why reds to me, it just like feels a little too much going on. But oranges, I think it pairs well with.
Yeah.
So next, wheels.
Oh boy.
What wheels would you go with? So I specifically, I crashed on my Reynolds wheels. Didn't have a single spoke break. Nothing went wrong. I didn't even have a crack, any of that. So I am going to stick with Reynolds wheels. I am a real big fan. And then I put on here something that I found to be a really big fad as well. I think is still kind of a really big popular fad is stickers and the colors of the brands. Do you like white stickers? Do you like blacked out stickers? What do you like? I kind of like the look of a white sticker on a rim. I think that
spins around, makes you think you're going fast.
I think that looks really cool. So I would pick a white sticker.
Yeah.
Paul? So first we're going to start with brand.
Brand, I'm not particular. I guess I'm particular on the brand, but I don't have a particular brand that I would pick.
Okay.
So things change.
I don't know
I
if
would
I
like
either.
to try
Yeah.
Swiss Side.
Yeah.
I think those guys are doing extremely well on design and that type of thing. Depth is a big thing. I don't worry about with rim brakes. I think the most ridiculous thing that disc brakes look stupid on anything 3 centimeters deep or shallower. They look stupid.
They do.
So the deeper the rim with I don't know why, but to me it's more appealing. And disc brakes look okay with like a 6 centimeter deep rim. And I do, like I said, I Swiss Side has white. I think white's good.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. You hit a certain speed from the side, and you can see that flash, and it starts rotating
backwards.
Yeah,
that is
cool.
so cool.
It looks
Yeah.
cool.
You just like gotta go this speed for the rest of my life.
Head is one I've never owned, but I have some aluminum rims, but Head is a good manufacturer of wheels, and they kind of specialize on that. So.
Yeah. Like I would like to try Zip. I've
never
heard so
ridden a
many
Zip.
good things about
I've
Zip
had
wheels.
some.
Yeah.
In the early days, and that's probably not fair.
Yeah.
But I'm not impressed.
Dad, what about you? What brand and
I have never ridden Reynolds, but from hearing the stories of what you guys ride with them, I'm blown away by their how they treat customers. I would ride them. I've never ridden an Envy set of wheels. I would ride them. I think they're kind of cool looking wheels.
We know somebody had some Envies going down Mount Spokane.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That guy.
about that?
I have purchased 2 sets of wheels from a company out of Portland called Hi-Fi.
Yeah.
And I bought a pair for my road bike, which are my tubulars.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a freaking screaming deal because tubulars were going away. And I got some beautiful deep aero carbon rims for a song from them. And I also have a set of aluminum wheels for my gravel bike from Hi-Fi. No endorsements here. I paid what they were charging, and they're great wheels. And my stock set that came with my Giant have been...
Are they a Cadex?
Rock solid.
They're manufactured?
They're not. These ones aren't Cadex, but they do stock. A lot of bikes come with stock Cadexes, and these have been solid. And it's a carbon rim, and I have treated them like shit, and they're still going strong and just dead on straight. So, and a lot of my wheels don't have any stickers on them, or they're dark stickers, and I love the white stickers just because it looks cool.
I think it looks fun. Yeah. Frame wise, gosh, this is hard for me to pick. I'd be interested to see what like new Treks are like. I rode an aluminum Trek, and I really like to see what that weird cutout is and everything, and how it rides, all that stuff.
Scares shit out of me. It does.
Yeah.
It's gonna break under my fat ass.
Colored wise, I really like the iridescent colors. I think those are really cool.
Yeah.
That you look at from different angles, and it's like a green, is it a purple, all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
The reason I ask color is because we see blacked out bikes all over the Peloton now.
Too many flat black.
Yes. Paul, what is your brand you would go with?
I would say outside of BMC, I'll probably never own another one. They're too expensive. I like Time, what they do. They're a small production.
Yeah.
And that's why I push not for any paint, but just naked carbon. I know it's boring looking and everything, but I got a little...
But that's not flat black.
No, flat black.
Yeah, it's different.
I don't want any paint on my carbon. And when manufacturers come out with carbon and they have paint and then a naked one, the naked ones are the ones with no flaws.
Yeah.
They paint the ones that are flawed.
Oh.
So and there may be flawed painted ones,
bikes.
but and there's not that they're a bad shape, but they may have like carbon might be a little bit. You could see a little bit of a defect, but you can't do that on a naked bike. So if I'm running a carbon bike, no paint.
Nice. All right. What about you, Dad? What do you think?
This isn't kissing Karsten's ass. When I first got that Giant, I was like, holy shit, this is a rigid frickin' bike. This is like riding on, flat tires.
Yeah.
I love that bike.
Mm-hmm.
I have really enjoyed it, and I keep thinking that I would like to upgrade my road bike, but every time I get on that thing, it has become a part of me.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of other bikes that have done that over the years. My years on carbon fiber have not been many.
Right.
And this is probably my third carbon road bike, and every bike has gotten better. And so I've been completely happy with this, and I would stay. I'm honestly, like you, Paul. I've kind of found my brand, and it just feels good underneath me, and it responds where I want it to respond, and it takes the abuse that I want it to take. I did a gravel fondo on it last year, 2 years ago, and no, it's solid. Color. I'm an idiot. I like a little flash.
Yeah.
I like something that looks, I'm the idiot out there on the orange bike right now. And it's just kind of like, oh, there goes Bulger, he's dipshit on his pumpkin. And I like that. I like a little splash. I don't want to hide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is funny because I do in public.
Yeah. Next thing I had was saddle. Brands. I've only ridden this Origin 8 saddle that Sam's given me. I'm going to try a Physique probably next month.
Oh, you really?
It's just I need a wider saddle than I have now. And I've heard nothing but good things from that brand. Color wise, it's black.
Oh God.
For me, would you pick little aspects in there here and there though? Like little color aspects is my only question. Ooh. So Paul, what is your brand?
Brand is Physique without a doubt. I was worried when I started was on a turbo.
Yeah. Bernardino turbo?
Yeah, turbo. Yeah. And then I loved that. And then Flight, lighter saddles came in, and Flight was a good transition. I have my cheekbones are pretty small, and I have the narrowest Physique, and that was the best saddle I've ever owned. Mm-hmm. And I have one on my commuter bike. It's the same saddle on everything. My other, winter road bike now. And black. My newest saddle that I bought from Physique is they used to do a centerpiece with a color like white or red. And you didn't have a choice. They finally make it with black in the middle, so that's what I have. Black and black.
Black's good to have when you're talking about poop shoots.
Saddles, yeah.
Anything poop oriented, potentially nearby.
Yeah.
You don't want to potentially stain. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been on the same brand of saddle
Mm-hmm.
that you have been, Jackson. I think I might be ready for a change.
Yeah.
Just because this is going to sound funny. When I sit up on my trainer, and if I'm riding with hands off the bars, it'll crack in a certain, just make a kink, and it scares the shit out of me every time. I think my saddle's just broken. I'm like, fuck! And I move all over the place on the trainer, and I'm just like going, okay, enough of this. I don't want that. I can't handle this mental trauma anymore. And I will admit, and I'm free to put myself out there. I think I have birthing hips almost as wide as Sam's.
Nobody's as wide as Sam's.
I'm pretty sure my butt cheeks are wide apart. My sit bones, I think, are wide apart.
Yeah.
And so I need a very specific style of a saddle. And so I'm going to have to research it. Sam had this thing, and this is just a walking advertisement for him. It's just something you literally sit on, and it gives you a digital readout of your sit bones. And then you can buy a saddle according to those that measurement. And I know I've got it around here somewhere, that readout. And I will buy a different saddle. But this has been I've been on that saddle since I got the Giant, and I've been on that bike for over 5 years, and it feels good. I don't get any moments where I'm going, or anything like that. And black.
Yeah, nice.
I would never buy a saddle, and it's like bar tape. I don't know if that's next.
Well, it's funny you mentioned bar tape. So my last and final thing, sorry it's taking so long, but
no.
is Bar tape. Do you have a brand? Mine is Physique. Color. I like black. If the saddle's black, the bar tape's black. That's one of the few rules that I follow. But my little extra tidbit in there is: do you like the bar tape that has dots in it, that has different colors in it? So like, let's say it's got or like a stripe.
No, Paul's answer.
Well, yeah. But that's because you've had orange and black. I've had red and black. So it's very personal. So mine's all black though. So Paul.
Yeah, mine's all black and no colors. I used to back in the day with Bonotto. I would have like different.
Yeah.
Bonotto tape was just a cello tape.
Yeah.
No padding, whatever. And colors were a big thing.
And if you're a junior,
and I used to have a lot of
colors.
white. Yeah.
If you're a junior, it was mixed colors. That's how you could always tell the junior.
White used to be really big.
It was really big, and I ran Campy, and they had white hoods. So back then, and so I had to scrub the hoods anyway, so I might as well scrub the bars.
Bonotto would stay white if it got wet.
Yeah, because it's
plastic. It's basically plastic wrap around your bar.
For sure.
But of course, I got the Belgian colors. It was black,
so
yellow, and
cool.
red. Yeah, so that's what I did mine on.
Yeah.
So
okay, Dad, what are you thinking?
I miss white bar tape. I miss it. I always a bike with white bar tape used to look so clean and so crisp, but now it's like, how much is a roll of tape? $50-$60?
Depends on where you get it.
The stuff that I get from Physique's about $30+. Yeah.
Excuse me. Absolute lunacy.
Yeah.
You're not. You one
It's
ride
cork
in the
ribbon.
rain. One ride in the rain, and you're gonna have
If it's
mud
white,
colored
yeah.
bars.
Yeah,
They're
for
gonna
sure.
look like you shoved them up your butt. So yeah, you can't do it anymore. And I also believe that bars and tape have to kind of match.
Yeah.
I mean, bars and
Saddle.
need to match. Although there were a lot of years I broke that rule. So yeah, I would go with a good cork tape. I have, but I would argue that you could play around a little bit when it comes to a gravel bike.
Yeah, I agree.
You can add a
Anything
little
goes
bit of
with gravel.
the dots. You could have the splash of color in there. I did the splash of color on my orange bike simply. I'm not gonna lie, to bug Paul.
Nice.
I saw that tape and I was like, "Oh, he's gonna get so mad at me." And then the bright orange. I had bright orange bar tape for a while. That was so ugly, and I did that as a joke. I did that completely, very Larry David style, kind of out of spite.
Spite. It's all about spite.
Yeah, but I would. Yeah, my next tape's gonna be just. Although my tape now isn't all black.
Does it have the little dots?
It's from Hi-Fi, and it has a gold Hi-Fi logo all over it.
That's kind of cool. Yeah. But I think, just to wrap this all up, I think that one thing that we kind of found out here is that it's also personal style, is that we all pick our own things, and then everybody can rock what they want. So.
But can we mildly bust somebody's chops if we think what they're doing looks stupid?
What I like to say is, I might not say it to you, but I'm thinking a whole lot.
Okay.
So.
We all get so upset these days that it's just like going, if I busted your balls about your handlebar tape, all of a sudden there's this online movement to cancel me because I just thought your tape looks stupid.
You can think it and talk about it with your friends. You don't have to be like,
Or
hey, you look dumb.
The Velominati rules that people now take so damn seriously and are offended by it. I've had such a problem with it because everything Velominati did was tongue planted in cheek to a certain extent. But we've come to this wave where everything's so serious. It's like you can't even give somebody shit for, the fact that they're wearing a neon kit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I did as a punishment.
Right.
Or white shorts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. Paul, I don't want to minimize changing times. Do we want to, can we condense it or do we want to hold it for next week?
I was just going to talk about clothing real quick.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
So just the changes. Let's see how much time. Oh man, we're late.
Yeah.
I guess we could save it. That's fine. It came to the
because
forefront.
We do have some classics we got to pick.
Yeah, exactly. And it came up with clothing because we had a pizza party at Sam's place, and clothing was brought up. So I'll save it for next week.
Oh, good.
Yeah, sorry it took so long.
No.
That was fun. That was fun. And by the way, if you're listening, I'd like to hear yays and nays of what we
Just
what we
talking,
chose.
yeah.
What we chose, because we did stick to road bikes, but there we go. We have technically 3 races happening this weekend. We're going to have to go high speed through this. We have Omloop Het Nieuwsblad for the men and the women, and we have Kuurne Brussels Kuurne, which we are allowing 3 riders to pick. And I'm anxious to hear these choices. I believe in chivalry, so we start with the women. The Omloop Het Nieuwsblad, the women are racing. If you're not picking at least one person from SD Works, you probably have something major in terms of a head injury. I will go first. I am picking Lotte Kopecky, which I have a feeling everybody's going to pick, so it washes those choices away. I'm picking Elisa Balsamo because
That's who you always pick.
I apparently have a thing for her, and I am also picking Allison Jackson because I would just love to see her do something, because I think after the Paris-Roubaix that she might be able to understand that she belongs at the front end of the peloton. There's my choice.
I will go with my 3 being Lotte Kopecky, Demi Vollering, both SD Works, and then Elisa Longo Borghini.
Yeah, those are all brilliant choices. Yeah.
I went with Kopecky, Vollering, and Ludwig.
Nice.
Oh, those are great.
Nice.
Those are great. For the men, Omloop Het Nieuwsblad, I am going away from the grain. I'm picking Christophe Laporte. I'm picking Biniam Girmay, and I'm picking Alberto Bettiol. I don't know why. I don't think they're going to do it, but what the hell? They popped into my head.
I will go with Wout van Aert. I will go with Christophe Laporte and Thomas Pidcock.
Okay.
I went with Dylan Van Bar, Parla, just because he had a bad year and he won Roubaix previous year. They brought him in. I think Wout's going to turn the dial down a little bit.
Do you?
It's all about Flanders and Roubaix.
Yeah.
I went with Jasper Stuyven. He's always good on those classics. And then Matej Mohoric.
That's always a good
Mohoric
choice.
was there last year, so. Yeah.
Kuurne Brussels Kuurne. It's funny you should mention that. I don't know why, but I feel that Wout might not have the best day the first day, and I think he's just going to come out and do something the second day. I think Kasper Askren is always flying at these races, and he's not done yet. And I picked Jasper Stuyven just because I think Lidl Trek is going to uncork a season, a huge season.
I think Mads Pedersen's going to be a different rider this year.
I'd love to see that guy in green in July.
Yeah. I picked Wout van Aert again just because he's one of the best in the peloton.
Yeah.
I picked Biniam Girmay. I think this is flatter. It's got a lot less of something to take him away. And then Jasper Philipsen. Let us not forget that he was second in Roubaix last year. So
That's a very good point.
I went with Christophe Laporte. I was going to go with Tej, but he won that last year. So... and then Kasper Askren had a bad year. I think this is a year that the Quick Stop or Sedal Quick Stop will be coming around. And Mohoric, because he's always seems to be there, so it could be a chance.
No descent required.
No.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, there we go. The classics, not the classics.
Yeah,
the season is here.
Yeah.
Thank God. Jackson, you got to go out and just pull the trigger, man. Just don't eat for a couple days.
That easy.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're a FlowBike subscriber and you subscribe to NordVPN, you tell FlowBikes you live in Canada, you can fire up your laptop and aircast and cast it to just about any Apple TV, and it works. It works. Trust me, I've been making sure that for Paris-Roubaix when we come here and do the party. That brings us to 1 hour and 38 minutes of a podcast. That's
Outro.
a hell of a long one.
Outro.
We didn't need no Waples.
Outro.
What?
Outro.
Oh! Is this
Nice.
No.
Is it this mellow one? See,
It's one of
you
them.
just need a big sign. You got to hold up, going outro, dipshit, out of this great music that comes to us. So I'd love to get that new theme someday, but I'm not riding him.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I'm not riding him. Thanks you guys for being here,
Thank you.
and we didn't need a single Waple.
No.
We will whip out Waples.
And we still went long.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we just drop them.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nah, we can't do that. because their banter is so perfect. And be sure and like and subscribe. And I mention this all the time, but those YouTube subscriptions are a huge thing. So if you don't have the, if you don't mind, go over and just click that button on and smash that subscribe. Is that what the kids say? Yeah. Jackson's yawning, so he's not a kid anymore. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jackson. And
thank
we
you.
will catch everybody next week.